Alright, class, the following lectures will be on the Gilded Age in America from 1865 to 1900. And the lectures are going to cover the following topics: rise of industrial America, politics during the Gilded Age, and the growth of cities and American culture from 1865 to 1900. The first thing we're going to look at is the rise of industrial America. And to start you off with a quote, we have a quote by President Grover Cleveland in 1888 that I want you to kind of think on. And it says, "As we view the achievements of aggregated capital, we discover the existence of trust, combinations, and monopolies, while the citizen is struggling far in the rear or is trampled to death beneath an iron heel. Corporations, which should be the carefully restrained creatures of the law and servants of the people, are fast becoming the people's masters." And so that quote by Cleveland pretty much sums up, the stage or the setting that America finds itself in the late 19th century, the rise of industry in America. And so by 1900, the United States has emerged as a leading industrial power in the world. Its manufacturing output exceeded that of its three largest rivals, Great Britain, France, and Germany. The rapid growth of the U.S. economy, averaging about 4% a year, was a result of a combination of factors or causes. Number one, the country was, full of natural resources, including raw materials essential to industrialization. These include coal, iron ore, copper, lead, timber, and oil. The second cause, an abundant labor supply, was between 1865 and 1900, supplemented yearly by the arrival of hundreds of thousands of immigrants. And we're going to talk about old immigration versus new immigration in the late 19th century in a different chapter. A growing population combined with an advanced transportation network made the United States the largest market in the world for industrial goods. And that's one of the first things we're going to start off with this lecture is going to be with the railroads. Capital was plentiful as Europeans with surplus wealth recognized a good investment and joined well-to-do Americans in funding the economic expansion. After the Civil War, we saw the first millionaires, and we saw Americans with abundance of financial capital ready to invest in these growing industries. Inventions, the development of labor-saving technologies increased productivity. Over 440,000 new patents were granted by the federal government from 1860 to 1890. And then last but not least, the last cause of, or the second to last cause, businesses benefited from friendly government policies that protected private property, subsidized railroads with land grants and loans, supporting U.S. manufacturers with protective tariffs, and refrained from either regulating business operations or heavily taxing corporate profits. And so when we start talking about some of these economic policies, we'll get into laissez-faire capitalism and social Darwinism as well. And so, some of these, the government was on the side of business, which helped it expand as well. And last but not least, talented entrepreneurs emerged in this era who were able to build and manage vast industrial and commercial enterprises. It was said that, during the Gilded Age, some of the most talented men, they were going into business rather than going into politics. So, anybody that could be seen as maybe the next George Washington, the next John Adams, the next Thomas Jefferson, their head wasn't geared towards politics in the White House. Their head was, their focus was more on business in the private sector. And so, that's when that's one of the last causes as to why we see the rise of industrial America post-Civil War. In the next videos, we're going to take a look at the business of the railroads.